Let's see if this works. Is this working? There we go. Okay, so I hear you. Let's see if the stream hears you. Go ahead and say something.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. No, I see it in the bars, so they should be seeing it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we hears Particle Studio. Okay. So I'm gonna try and be all fancy and stuff. Let's see if this works. So if I switch over to this view, have your portfolio here, and I think if I did this right, I should be able to press a button. Your name should come up. Oh yeah, nice. Your name comes up on screen, which is so. If anyone asks who we're looking at, we can figure it.
Awesome.
We can just press a button and spam your name. So smooth. Oh man, I'm trying. So let me make sure I've got all of this stuff here. So are you in school right now? Or no, you're
Yeah, I'm
go
at
ahead.
my final year of uni.
Your final year?
Yeah.
Are you stressing out yet?
I'm currently the producer for one of my group projects this year, so
Yeah?
minor stress. But again, we're about a week in, so we're vibing, getting things done.
So are you you're wanting to be an effects artist, or is that just like the first half? You want to be an environment artist or effects?
I do environment work. I do work a lot with trying to get some environments together that I could put my VFX in, but I'm primarily a VFX artist.
Right. And so okay, so you want to head that direction.
Yeah.
There's like
But
I was gonna say like you'll notice me saying a lot on streams like VFX seems to be
Mhm.
really needed. I mean, I know in Sweden we're seeing a spike in like the need for VFX, and I don't know if it's like because of how school is educating, or like if it's like just a topic that no one really touches on in education, so it ends up not being a thing that comes through. But yeah, so I know we've looked at some of your stuff in here before. How long have you been doing VFX?
I started doing VFX in my second year, so all the work on my portfolio is when I first started developing. So this was one of my first pieces that I created. So I started experimenting with VFX shaders such as the rain, and I also did a fire shader as well. So
Yeah.
very modular, and then I grew into a specialism where I decided to do tubes and drains.
You're like, yeah, I like the tubes and drains.
Why
uh,
not?
so I guess if I'm looking at, so right now I'm looking at the draining effect. Is the skull actually dropping, or is that just part of the shader? Or
The skull is a separate mesh entity. It's something that one of my friends sculpted for their specialism. I did link it in the bio of that effect as well. The tube is also from another friend of mine, but I manipulate it through a blueprint to make it spin and go down so it looks like it's reacting.
right? Yeah, I wonder if like, so I see there's bubbles in there and they're kind of spinning in the middle to, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
simulate the spin of the vortex at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you'd want to do if you could like revisit this effect? Because this
Normally,
one's a year ago.
water
Yeah.
when water normally drains, like if you watch water go down the sink, you sort of get that tornado sort of a shape. I
Hmm.
did it with bubbles, but I think if I added like a mesh in there that spun, it would add more. So
Oh,
it's
right.
something
Yeah.
I
So you
do
want
plan
that
on
vortex
revisiting.
look.
Yeah, like I kind of got it with just like the first layer of it being the bubbles, but there needs to be a little bit more in my mind.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, varying the size of the bubbles I think, would be really
mm-hmm.
good. Because right now they're relatively all the same size.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the vortex would be good. Let's see if we can. Because your first, the curling up by the fire, that one's just an environment, right? It's like a little
Yeah.
diorama that you'd built.
Mm-hmm.
It's cozy. Is this when you first
Yeah.
like did the fire? You're like, oh, I like making that
Yeah.
fire.
Very much so. This was when I was first like learning how Encloth worked, how to manipulate ZBrush,
Yeah.
and learning Substance Designer and everything. So this was very much like the big learning curve project. And casually, my dog on the wall.
Oh, right. I see. Oh, man. Empire Dogs forever. Um, so then we'll look at was this a Spencer King? So this is a group project, right? I actually looked at this
Yeah.
earlier today.
Yeah. This was the big group project we had at the end of my second year.
And you were in charge of, what were you in charge of in this?
I was the producer, foliage artist, and VFX artist. So, but this is just a general walkthrough that my team made. The rig for the character isn't ours, but everything else in the scene is.
Cool.
So we did a lot of manipulating.
Yeah, I think when it comes to making stuff like this, one of the number one things you'll see that kind of feels weird when you're first getting into making an environment, especially when it's third person, is the scale of the character versus the environment, and like or the assets in the environment and their scale. So you'll see like the door to the character and like the height of the handle or like where the glass is. And then when you go in here, like how big the chandeliers are. Those are things that I would make sure to pay attention to. Like I work with someone who's from VFX or like from the film industry, and like the number one thing they look for in film is scale. So it's like if the scale's off, everything breaks for some reason. I mean, it's like the uncanny valley gets hit immediately. Because usually you would say the uncanny valley is when you get really close to real, and then all of a sudden there's just something there that you don't know. But if the scale is just slightly off, it's immediately broken. But was it Particle in chat was asking if the mesh god rays for the mesh?
No. So that's all volumetric lighting done by the lighting artist on our team.
Nice.
So we changed the direction and just up the fog to catch it.
Right. Is there did you put any particles in the air to kind of emphasize like the dust and whatnot?
Yeah, there's two types of dust particles. Ones that are slightly more blue to catch the light. This was like the first project where I was really learning how to manipulate particles so they do spawn in a little late, which is quite upsetting. Like you can see them just in the corner of this frame. And
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, but there's general ones in the room that are more of that sort of brown tone, and then you get the ones near the window which are more blue.
Yeah. No, that stuff. Like I don't think people realize how much effects add to the to an environment, or like selling that an environment is there in front of you. Oh, nice! You guys got puzzles and stuff here. There's actually quite an advanced project. Anyways, so you have a reel for it as well. I did not go through the reel.
That's okay. There is audio with that.
Yeah, I muted it because I don't know what Twitch is gonna do to me. Nice.
So yeah, I chose to do sort of before and afters with this reel, just because there were some very distinct differences with how they looked after I did the effects. I wasn't really too sure if that was a good approach for it.
The before and after with effects. I think if the camera's moving, it can be a little difficult to understand like what's happening, and then you want to make sure, like you're saying it here, you're saying after the corner there. So I guess saying before, like pre effects, post effects, or after effects, like you're saying here. But if the camera's still, you're gonna notice it much more.
Okay.
But I think it's a good idea because then you can really show like how important effects are. Like especially in this shot, you can see when you do the swipe with the particles spraying in the hallway. I don't know how much of a delay you're seeing on the stream, because I take it you're watching the stream paused or like muted or whatever.
Yeah, muted.
So this looks like you're using the same effect.
Yeah, so this is where I did go in and try and manipulate it a little bit. The materials got like a complete V2 over. I tried to get the vortex to work, but I didn't really, so I ended up cutting it last minute.
Okay.
But
I guess the only thing that's weird is the the character like not deforming as the
Mm.
as the fluid goes away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that would be on you or if that would be on effects in production. I guess it depends on the size of the studio. But yeah, let me see. Okay, so that was just the one. So I think combining these two would be really good. The effects reel and the actual scene itself.
Okay.
Maybe trying to think if there's like a, because if you're trying to be effects first, I would combine these, but then put the effects reel right after the intro video, or put the effects reel at the top and then the video of the game below it. Because
Okay.
the rest is like you said, you built the. Did you say you built the environment as well? I can't remember already.
I built the foliage.
The foliage and the particles.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I remember, I think I looked at this one in a Discord critique. I could be wrong because I feel like I looked at a lot of your stuff already.
I do like to post a lot and get feedback and work
Yeah.
on it.
No, that's really good.
And this was something I did before the Christmas period, so this was my latest project.
Right. Yeah, this one actually has a really good sense of scale. And I think when I had commented on it before, it was just getting the leaves to touch the water and then seeing if you could get that secondary animation of like of particles of leaves kind of moving along the surface of the water. I think it's going away from us. The water movement is, but oh right, yes, yeah, I remember commenting on this. And then the butterflies is a really cool effect, and it was one of my comments was to make sure to, if you can, add a single particle of the butterfly landing, just so that you get the sense of like it not always being like a looping particle effect.
Okay.
Let me read chat here for a second and make sure I'm not. Ponta says you should use, he would suggest that you use different thumbnails for the effects and environments. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could keep these separate and then just showcase an effect for this one.
Okay.
Let me go back to this. I feel like I didn't see the. I'm like, oh no, music. Let's see. Okay, so we got the smoke. Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure I got it all. So, what are you working on something currently?
At the moment, I'm working on a group project, but I'm also working on a character effect. At the moment, it's the first one I've ever really attempted.
Yeah. So it's just an effect on the, like, what type of effect are we talking about?
It's a revival effect, so it's a interaction between two characters. Just some basic rigs that I'm working with, and that's for a competition in a couple of weeks.
Right. Oh no, I think I did. It's kind of like a swirly, like you had a character that was down and then one standing.
Yeah, it's like big green spheres.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm trying to think of like, Quantum was saying in chat that he's not really a fan of the logos on here. I'm kind of in between on with thumbnails and putting logos on them because I think it depends a lot on like what people are expecting to see. Like for us, we all know like, oh, Unreal, everyone's using Unreal or it's Unity, right? And then the other one is, I guess, Blender. Oh man, is that noise coming through? No. But the reason I guess it bugs us is because we know it's obvious, but I think for people that are looking around, or maybe someone who's not as in tune with how we are, this could be important to know that, okay, this is real time. Like putting the Unreal logo on there lets you know that it's real time. I would maybe take this text in the corner of your thumbnails, the VFX Showreel, VFX Steady.
Yeah.
Taking those and trying to make them feel different from the text on the website, whether it's like the size of the text or like the font type. I think the font type's fine, but the size of the text maybe, if it was a little bigger, then it would separate itself from the UI of the website. Oh man, I got to catch up on some of the chat stuff that people are saying.
Okay.
River leaves. What? So Particle is casually suggesting was half a blog post from Sucker Punch last week. It's talking about the river leaves. Whenever you can get particles to do something secondary, so it's like the butterfly example with the butterfly landing, that goes a long way, because it lets the brain kind of understand that there's more to it than it's just a particle. And it's the same with the leaves, like panning on the water. They don't even have to be the same effect. You could have the ones that are falling and then falling into the water itself, and then you can have an effect that's spawning particles of leaves that are going down the stream.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah, we're getting. I asked, I think that's Glad in chat. I asked him, was like, "Hey, we've got an effects portfolio review. If you want to chime in," and he's dropping all types of knowledge. So I'll just read some of the stuff in here. Smoke from logs is nice and soft. However, I have a hard time seeing it if it's just been put out in Belui, or if it's just went out a few minutes ago. So I guess it's more of a trying to understand like where, or like the time frame of the particle effect.
The aim is for it to be just recently extinguished, hence why it's so thick at the beginning and then sort of fades as much as it does with the reference I was working with.
Right.
But maybe I should state that more in the little comment thingy at the bottom that I have in my reel.
Oh, down in the line there.
Yeah.
I wonder if I've never noticed this before until you've just mentioned it, but like people tend to move their mouse over the top of the video, and it makes the UI kind of go over your text. So I wonder if there's like, if for future reference, if you can frame your text above the UI elements, just in case people just sit here and spin around the.
Definitely, that's something I'll fix.
Let's see what else Particle's saying in chat. Yeah, I'd either thicken it or add more bellowiness, or thin it out and slightly push it more towards steam. Let's see if there's. So Quantum's talking about the thumbnails a little bit more. It's like, personally, I would put it in a title instead of writing it in the thumbnail. So he's talking about you could put UE4 in this. If you wanted like a clean thumbnail layout, you could remove the logo and put UE4, or in the future UE5 in the text here.
Okay.
But that might be more of a. They don't bug me all that much. I think it's because they're so unified. Like if it was a bunch of different programs, but they were all in the same spot, it would be okay as well. But if they started changing position and like size, that could be a moment to be like, oh, okay, maybe either unify them or remove them and just add them in the title. Let's see here. Oh, Quantum Met for the VFX reel. Oh, I see what he's saying. He's talking about the text in the reel itself. And just adding it on the side here. But is there anything that specifically you're wanting to like know about VFX, or like because with Particle being in chat, there's probably something we can get out of this.
Yeah, personally, there aren't that many environment effects like portfolios online. I mainly base it off actual VFX for movies and how they demonstrate, how they break it down in terms of the portfolios. Is there any way that I could just get some advice on how I'm showcasing it? Because I feel I'm doing okay, but I feel like I could do better in terms of showcasing what I'm working on.
So there's a combination of stuff, right? I'm sure Particle is going to say something as well, and he also says props for not having any gray backgrounds, which is particle effects. So the effects have context. And Tej says that he's excited to see a student doing VFX because there's really not that much around. I'm telling you, man, it's like it's a market that no one's like none of the students seem to be tapping into, and there's at least a demand from what I'm noticing around the Scandinavian area.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I think it's great that you're using environments, and just like Particles saying not having gray scenes. I would look at, so if you look at Battlefield, right? They've got, I think they have a effects like destruction demo reel that they showed off like all of their prop destruction, or like the any game studio that's showing off destruction or particles or has game trailers, you'll see what they're using as like the, I guess I would call them the cliche particles, like the explosions and the stuff that get your attention, and or like the ambient particles, like your dust in the air and particles that just kind of float around to give you a sense of the space. If you can, I mean, I guess it's happening here. I don't know if like in this VFX, this recent Peaceful Meadow scene, did you make all of the environment or did you place those from like a pack?
So that's a scene provided by Epic.
Nice.
It's
Okay.
the meadow scene. Is commented on, but I didn't link it. But for this entire project, I also linked my blog breakdowns that I go through for each project that I'm doing this year, because I've realized that adding it is kind of a good thing to have, as artists like to understand how VFX pipeline kind of works and how you go through different things. So for the smoke, I experimented with Houdini for quite a significant amount of time, and so and trying to get that into my pipeline and understanding how it could be implemented into games. So this was a big learning curve in terms of that.
Yeah, I think when pushing your portfolio for effects, you could probably take. I mean, it's so nice that we have all of those assets in the Epic Store now, especially with mega scans. You can just build environments really quickly, because you could do a bunch of tests where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make a snow scene, like heavy amounts of snow, where it's almost like a blizzard, right? And then maybe see if you can do effects on like lava. Like getting really exotic with it is the same approach that you would take with like materials, for example. Like, was it Daniel Tiger? He's like crazy with materials because he goes in directions that you wouldn't normally see. So if you could do that with effects and just go super out there, like lava bubbles, and like what does lava do when you want to stylize it and have like those effects of like the lava bubbling up and popping, and or dripping effects or waterfalls, and there's so many there's so many things you could do.
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess it's just a matter of going forward, expanding on what you've been doing and just going all over the place and just thinking about trying to make environments feel alive. It's with being part of the community, the Empire community, or any of the communities, being able to partner with other environment artists and use their scenes and give their scenes more life. It also gives you a unique opportunity to put particles in a scene that no one else is actually putting effects in, right? So I would definitely try and partner up with environment artists so you can just focus on particles.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that in the future.
Let's see if there's particles writing a lot of stuff. I almost feel like I should. Any of the links that have been dropped in chat about references or anything, I've been putting them on the side here. I'll just send them to Laura afterwards. That way you don't lose them.
Thank you.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many. I think it's just 2 so far. No, yeah, 2. But let me make sure that I'm not missing anything in here. Particle's favorite thing is to take something with a ton of ambient effects. Think bombed out ruin or foggy haunted house. Then do a wipe reveal before and after thingy. Blows people away because it's like you're, I guess without the effects, it's very like, oh, it's just an abandoned building. But then you put that kind of haunted feel in the particles, and you can just push that through. And I guess the wipe will really push it over the edge. Particles saying it's also a good idea to take a small thing and focus on all the auxiliary things, like the fire logs, have them slightly glowing at first and then fading, one of them falling over, kicking up ash. Just the extra little, it sounds like it's a bunch of small little particles all feeding into the greater image.
Okay.
So small scope, but with a bazillion details. That's a great way to explain it.
Literally my life.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we've got about 5 minutes till the 30-minute mark. Is there anything that you want to, do you have any other questions? It can be for Particle and chat as well.
Oh, God. I didn't think I'd get the opportunity to, and now I've forgotten them all. Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, usually I just write them down because I guarantee everyone will forget their questions.
Oh, I should have done that. Damn.
But I know, so Glad's in the Discord as well, so you can always poke him in Discord and ask him questions also.
Oh, awesome. Hopefully I'll remember them soon.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess this is goodbye. No, it's a cool portfolio, and I think it's really cool that you're doing VFX, because there's just not a lot of, I think I've reviewed 3 in the 4 years that we've been streaming. It's very low, so this is really good. We need more VFX people.
I didn't think it was going to be that low.
Yeah, it's very, yeah.
Oh, that's mad. Because I know there was only 2 of them in my class, myself and another person, but wow.
Yeah, because like, I mean, the other thing you have to remember too, right, is I'm an environment stream, so maybe people feel like they can't share their VFX review or portfolio for review. I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything that I can say about VFX that I've noticed in games. A studio, so if you have a really large studio, let's say like 500 people, something crazy, and let's say they're at 500 people, you're probably looking at either a bunch of small projects or maybe 2 large ones. And in that case, even then, I think the VFX team would probably be like 5 or 6 people. Usually a single project won't have very many VFX artists. So maybe that's another reason that there's not a lot of education being pushed into that stuff. But the demand is there. I totally see it. And Glad will probably tell you in Discord, like, yeah, you want to go to Sweden? But no, this is cool. Thank you for submitting your VFX portfolio.
Thank you for reviewing it and giving me some good helpful tips.
Yeah, no problem. Particle says biggest one he's ever seen is 200 or 20-ish FX artists. I almost said 200.
200 FX artists. That just sounds
and
like
Destiny 2 holds a record at 42 VFX. See, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, don't talk to me. Talk to Particle.
I'm sorry.
But anyways, it's awesome, and thank you for submitting this. I just unplugged my earphone so I can't hear anything. I'll just plug that back in. All right, cool. I'm going to sorry for stream hogging. You're fine, man. I'm gonna switch over and we'll look at the next portfolio. I think I need to get water too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
See you.
Bye. Dude, super nice. Spreading that spicy community wisdom. Nah, it's true. Particle, that's why I asked you to join us, man. Let me go get a glass of water, and then how you guys doing, by the way? I've seen some questions in chat about getting your portfolio reviewed, and you have to fill it out there. And you just reminded me that I don't have the link open. Let me open the form here really quick. Resume collecting responses. All right, so the portfolio review form is open again. And I will change this text. And then we'll go get water, and then we will call the next person. Because do we have 4 calls this stream? Super cool. Let me just make sure I get this before I get my water. There we go. All right. Closing that. Closing that. And you're going to hear that every single time. All right. I will be like 30 seconds. And then we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be right back. All right. I am here again. Dude, I need a haircut. Look at this craziness. Okay, I need to call the next person. Parkour. Let me just double check. I think the next person is Daniel. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the yes, Daniel. All right, I'm gonna call you Daniel. Yo, thank you.